A day after a new terror axis in Kashmir involving the Hizbul Mujahideen and Lashkar-e-Toiba came to light, another video has surfaced that features Hizbul terrorists. In this video, shot in Kulgam in South Kashmir, heavily armed terrorists can be seen driving around, exhorting protests and organizing rallies. These terrorists, carrying assault weapons, brazenly drive around in cars, organizing protests. This video is believed to have been shot sometime in September when there was unrest in Kashmir after the killing of terrorist Burhan Wani. The video comes in the wake of similar footage which had earlier shown Hizbul and Lashkar terrorists in the valley patrolling the snow-capped peaks of North Kashmir together. My colleague Shujaul Haq now joins us live from Srinagar. What exactly was the police doing when these men are running around with weapons in their hand, brandishing weapons, hanging out of windows of cars, Shuja?
Well, Padmaja, let's remember first of all that, this video is old. It has, come a couple of months back during the time when there was unrest happening in the valley after the Burhan Wani encounter. Now, what we know about these videos is that at that point of time, because of the kind of prevailing situation, the police and the army had, in a sense, slowed down their operations in terms of anti-militancy and anti-insurgency, activities, and that's why these militants were seen openly addressing rallies. In fact, at some point of time, there were, open rallies organized by militants themselves on this stage. So it is a video of that time, but nevertheless, it does not really take away the fact that this trend of releasing videos, posting them on social media, perhaps to gain more propaganda for their own causes, something that has been seen increasing over past few years, and that is a challenge which the security forces are really looking at very seriously, because let's remember the biggest motive of such activities is to ensure that more youngsters are attracted towards militant organizations.
Oh, absolutely. And what's also shocking that these people should have access to this kind of weaponry, Shuja, and also that they can roam around in civilian areas with people actually cheering them on instead of reporting them to the cops.
Well, yes, that is the reality, harsh reality that unfolded, in these months of unrest in South Kashmir. We heard about such incidents happening in open daylight. There were people, who had seen militants coming out openly brandishing weapons. Something which was reminiscent of what used to happen in 1990s when the armed militancy had begun in the valley. There used to be these open sort of marches being carried out by militants with brandishing their weapons. After a huge that anti-militancy operations activities that had come down, but in these months of unrest we saw that happening particularly in some areas of South Kashmir, which virtually, if it won't be wrong, were out of control, out of bounds for any law and order mechanism. But now things have come back to normal. There is a sense of calm on the ground. The activities of the security forces have picked up. But all that doesn't take away the big picture here. The big picture is that there are militants still in the valley. In fact, the government itself has said that about 200 of them are active even as we speak, and out of which close to 100 are local militants, and most of them have joined quite recently. So all of it, if you put into perspective, the bigger picture does really cause for a real concern from the point of view of security mechanism on the ground. And one can only hope that this is ringing the alarm bells. Like I was pointing out, the fact that they can openly make these videos, then also propagate them with a view to ensure that more people are attracted towards them, is in itself a huge issue to tackle.
But Shuja, let's also look at the other side. These videos are also in a very well thought out fashion put out by these terrorists on social media. They're taking increasingly to social media for propaganda, because these videos are also intended to send out a message that even though their ranks might be getting depleted, they do have a semblance of local support. That is the flip side to these videos and the story.
Absolutely, you're spot on there. In fact, from the time when Burhan Wani, the poster boy of Hizbul Mujahideen, came into prominence. In fact, he came into prominence because of his social media activity. He started posting pictures, videos of him and other men who were part of his activities, and that's how this entire trend began. Gone were the days when militants used to hide their faces. Here they were openly giving out their identities. The only motive of it seemed to, attract more youngsters towards them. And like I was pointing out, this has been a huge challenge for the security forces to counter. Social media and usage of these sort of outlets is something that the agencies and the security grid has been really looking at very closely. They have tightened their own cyber security as well over past many years, but still, given the nature of this entire medium and the fact that it is open to all, there is very little that can be done in terms of ensuring that this material doesn't come on various platforms. You can only act once it is on there and once it is seen. So one can very easily say that there is no foolproof mechanism to ensure that it gets blocked even before it comes on. Having said that, there are secondary mechanisms that are employed by the security agencies, but that really doesn't take away the larger picture of it being a huge cause of concern in terms of the threat that how these militants are using these videos.
All right, just stay with me, Shuja, because we also have Mr. Jaidev Ranade who's joining us now on the phone line. So what do you make of this sudden flurry of videos which are coming out of Kashmir, which show these terrorists roaming around without a care in the world? Apparently, one look at these videos and one would think there is no security network at all in Jammu and Kashmir. What do you think is actually happening?
Well, offhand, I would just say that it appears that this is part of a psychological warfare being mounted by the terrorists, so that they spread panic, they divert the attention and the resources of the security forces. That is how I would look at it initially. But I'm sure the agencies would be probing these to try and get indicators regarding the terrain and what exactly is happening, and for collateral inputs to point to whether there is actually some truth in these videos. But since so many are coming out together, I think it is to focus, to divert attention and create a cyber kind of situation.
But sir, their intentions aside, the fact is these men did manage to get out in public bearing weapons and were not apprehended. That also leaves a lot of questions to be answered for the police in Jammu and Kashmir.
That is true, but it depends on where they are. For example, if they're in a rural area and they're moving around, and it's just at the time when the shot was taken or when that video was taken, they could have done it and melted away before the police or the security authorities got to know about it. After all, they're not all over the place either. So they must be going to certain places where the police presence is not there, or it's very thin, and they're able to get this photography done. So as I said, I don't know the full details, but this is how I view it at the present. But we have had other examples of a show of force by militants and other secessionist elements in Kashmir. So with flags, etc. This time it's with weapons. You remember even Burhan Wani's photograph was with a weapon. So they can always take these shots in areas which are secluded.
Well, it does seem that the template that was set up by Burhan Wani quite successfully, in fact, it was known as the Facebook terrorist, is now being emulated by other terror groups in the valley as well, a part of a coordinated psyops, as Jaidev Ranade just said. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us with your perspective.